Story 1. Smiles from random strangers, people holding the door open. Thank you, you are welcome. Story 2. Buying something online from a smallish company and receiving a handwritten letter is a nice touch. Once, I even received sweets because the person who ordered it for me mentioned it was my birthday. Story 3. Strangers being kind to each other is always a good sight to see. Story 4. A dog in a car in front of me sticking its head out the window. Looks so happy. Story 5. When my wife smiles, it is because she is either happy to see me, showing me something, or smiling at something I said. Story 6. I put out this tiny bowl on the ground next to my bird bath for the sparrows. They are too cautious to jump in the larger bath even though they can stand up in it, but they splash around in groups like the happiest little birds in the tiny bowl. I refill it multiple times a day, and they are on it the second it is refilled. Story 7. When a baby in the supermarket stops and stares at you with love in their eyes. Story 8. Knowing that I am loved by at least 3 people who will genuinely miss me when I am gone. Story 9. I live in the southern United States. I picked up my grandchildren from school and saw 2 white and 2 black young men, 12 to 14 years old, get into the same car at the pickup line. It makes me very happy to see that our younger generation does not care as much about the color of a person's skin, unlike my white generation and boomer parents. This is especially encouraging in the current political climate with so much hate. Story 10. My cats make this purr sound in the cutest pitches. It always sounds like a question. Sometimes I am able to talk to them and they respond and we go back and forth. We have what feels like a pleasant conversation, only without anyone understanding the other. I love those buddies and how often they come to chat with me. Story 11. What always brings a smile to my face is witnessing an unexpected act of kindness, such as when someone offers help without expecting anything in return. These small actions, though simple, have a special power to remind us that empathy and generosity can transform any day. Story 12. When my cat sneezes, I just die. It is so cute every time. It never gets old. Story 13. My brain always makes me laugh at silly things it is thinking about. Story 14. I was sitting at a table at the library one day, and a baby crawled over, pulled himself up on the chair next to me, and just stood there for a bit. I said, "Hi there," and he smiled. I am still happy about it. Story 15. This tiny human, my 3-year-old. When I go to pick her up from kindergarten, she runs toward me with the biggest smile and jumps into my lap. It is a flashback as well. I used to do that with my own dad. It is consistently my favorite part of the day. Story 16. Last week, I was driving on Main Street in Mesa, Arizona. At a stoplight, a man in a wheelchair was trying to cross the street. His wheels got tangled on the curb, so he would not make it across before the light changed. Another boy on a bicycle rode up beside him, grabbed the wheelchair, and started pulling him across the intersection. I had never witnessed something like that before, and it restored my faith in humanity and the younger generation. It makes me smile every time I think about it. Story 17. My dog tries to destroy my sock before I put it on. I have started giving her one of her own socks so she can chew it before I wear mine. Story 18. My child is reading so quietly that I almost forget he is in the house, followed by a sudden outburst of giggling. Story 19. Other people's dogs on the internet. I have always had a dog until the last few years. I am disabled, but I am also a full-time carer for my seriously ill husband, so having my own dog is definitely not a possibility. It just would not be fair to the dog. These days, I live vicariously through everyone online who shares wonderful little videos and cute pictures of their dogs. I am a member of many dog groups, charities, and individual dog pages across the world. It is not the same as having my own, obviously, but it will do, and they make me smile. What more can I ask? Story 20. Seeing a hummingbird in my area is exciting because they only migrate through, making them rare to spot. Story 21. Making a small, harmless mistake. I work hard all day trying to be an adult. It makes me feel like a human instead of a perfect robot. Story 22. Anything related to cats including clothes, bags, real cats, and toys. Story 23. The casual exchanging of appreciative glances you sometimes share with attractive strangers in public. The moment when they notice you checking them out for just a second, then they give you a little once-over, and you both smile knowingly before carrying on your separate ways. This happened to me the other day, and I was smiling for like a whole 2 minutes afterward. Story 24. The sunset is different every day, and it never fails to bring a smile to my face, no matter how tough the day may have been. Story 25. Dragonflies are fascinating insects. I enjoy watching them dart around the backyard. Story 26. Quite a lot of things. Probably the most common one is seeing people. I just can't help but smile at people when I speak to them or make eye contact as we are walking by. I think it is more about me not liking being observed as just another guy who cannot be nice or kind to others, even though it is not that deep. I understand the importance of what a simple smile can do for others, especially strangers, as I have had my day completely brightened by strangers around. It might be funny, but I take pride in being a genuine, compassionate human being to others. I have experienced enough hardship in my short life to know that we all go through horrible things. Story 27. Animals simply existing and engaging in their natural behaviors, succeeding at a creative project I did not think would turn out so well, and a sweet, thoughtful compliment make me smile as well. Story 28. Watching my dog's bottom wiggling with excitement at the start of her walk. She is just so perky and happy. It makes me happy too. Story 29. When my cat jumps onto her spot on the bed, nuzzles me for some head rubs, and then curls up and starts purring against my arm. Story 30. Ladybugs are small, and I like seeing them, especially when they are eating aphids. Story 31. I was in the supermarket yesterday. A woman in front of me knocked an empty box off the shelf, glanced at the box on the floor, and then just walked off. Without thinking, I picked it up and put it back on the shelf. A young boy saw this and, as he walked past, made eye contact and gave a small nod. I took this nod to mean, well done, mate. Some people are just a bit careless, aren't they? Cheers for sorting it out. It made me feel good all the way to the crisp aisle. Story 32. I got a tattoo of the talking squirrel in the XKCD comic, and whenever I glance at it and remember it's there, it makes me smile. Story 33. Dogs happily playing while someone gives them food. They jump around and wag their tails. It makes my day. Story 34. Every time my parrot, Phoenix, shakes my hand, it is the cutest thing ever. His little personality always brightens my day. What about you? Story 35. A cat purring while lying in my lap. Sun warming my face on a cold day. Pizza. Story 36. The way my cat clings to my leg if I have been away from home for an appointment or similar. Story 37. Okay, I have a few points. 1. Good food when you are hungry, like Chinese food for me. 2. When you overcomplicate something thinking it will be hard or difficult, but it turns out to be really smooth and simple. 3. Animals, like parrots, cute dogs such as Pomeranians and fluffy kittens. Story 38. Seeing my dog and my boyfriend become best friends. My dog does not like strangers and takes a long time to be comfortable around someone. He loves my boyfriend so much, and they are so cute together. Story 39. I drive a school bus. I have over 40 children on board. One of my high school students, who sits in the back of the bus, has a particularly authentic laugh. I can hear him laugh over the noise of 40 children. His laugh makes me smile every time. He does not laugh out loud often, so it makes my day when he does. Story 40. Dirt, and I am serious. Do you know how many things you can make out of that dirt? You can make mud pies, mud, and all sorts of things. Story 41. When elderly people look at you and smile, it's sweet and you know it's genuine. Story 42. The cats I randomly encounter at work always run away as soon as they see people, but it always makes me smile when I see them. Story 43. Dogs wearing clothing. A neighbor had an adorable pug and dressed it like the movie Men in Black. Story 44. I recently had a hospital appointment and had to take my 2.5-year-old daughter with me. She was whirlwinding through, being slow, and getting in everyone's way, but in every corridor and room, people smiled at her. Everyone was just going about their day, and seeing them smile was heartwarming. Story 45. Sincere compliments always make me smile no matter how much I try to play it cool. About 6 months ago, someone told me they liked the sound of my voice, and I swear I have been riding that high ever since. Story 46. Seeing the genuine love between my two daughters. There is no better feeling in the world. Story 47. When you haven't seen someone in a while, and you get this big hug that you always remember forever. Moments like this happen during goodbyes and hellos at the airport. I cherish those as if it is the first time meeting that person again. Feels nice. Story 48. Finding the perfect gift for someone special at a thrift store. Story 49. When my wife runs up to me smiling at the door when I get home to kiss me, even after 12 years of marriage. Story 50. Waking up in the middle of the night and realizing that you still have many hours of sleep remaining. Story 51. Driving past a dog going for a car ride. Their head is sticking out of the window, tongue out, happy and excited. Story 52. My girlfriend is small and cute and always manages to put a smile on my face. Story 53. When I am broke and find a $20 bill somewhere, maybe in one of the old pants or a backpack. Story 54. My dogs are playing or just being. My cats. My birds. My bugs. Okay, most non-human creatures. And baby humans. Story 55. Hearing my husband belly laugh when he is on PlayStation with his friends. Story 56. Apart from all very relatable things mentioned, I think receiving a text, letter, or any form of communication from a friend or acquaintance who may not be in sync with what is going on in my life, but solely out of nowhere sends a text or a meme, no matter how random or unintentional, is meaningful. The thought that someone has kept me in their thoughts and even acted on it by reaching out brings a smile. Story 57. When I receive compliments from girls or women about food or money. When my boyfriend compliments me, hugs me, or kisses me. The thought of how big my baby kitten is getting. Story 58. The memory of my late husband is precious. We shared over 39 years of wonderful memories, and one usually comes to mind every day. Story 59. Definitely attractive strangers smiling at me. As someone who is not good-looking, this instantly makes me smile. Story 60. Having fresh flowers in my house is wonderful. I buy myself some every 2 weeks. Story 61. Apart from many other things that others have mentioned. 1. Trains speeding by. 2. A giant airplane flying overhead. 3. Watching and hearing gray, thundery skies from inside a cozy room, although this also makes me sad thinking about homeless people at the same time. 4. A skyline or city view from a high-rise building. 5. A view of Earth from outer space. Story 62. People having fun in a wholesome, calm way, like a pet owner playing with their dogs, children in the park, families bonding on a picnic, a group of friends watching over a child because the mother needs to go to the bathroom, 2 friends waving excitedly at each other, or a stranger on the subway smiling over a paperback. Things like that. Story 63. It can be anything. An ant walking on the counter. This is definitely one of them. Story 64. The smell of rain on the pavement on a warm summer's day. Story 65. People remembering some random stuff from conversations about me. Story 66. Seeing a random act of kindness, like someone holding the door for a stranger or sharing their umbrella, always brings a smile to my face. It is a little reminder that there is goodness in the world. Story 67. If my supervisor finally appreciates what I am doing at work, but I guess that will never happen. Story 68. When my 14-year-old daughter comes and sits next to me and snuggles, I feel so privileged that at this age, she still wants to snuggle with me. Story 69. Spotted my French friend staring at me so intensely yesterday. When someone looks at you with such love and admiration that you can feel it. I love that they love me so much. Story 70. I love when it is super windy. Every woman I see has her hair up. It is such a cute human thing. It makes me smile every time. Story 71. As soon as I get home, my puppy waits for me to sit on the couch. Then, He jumps in my lap and we snuggle for about 15 minutes. If I am ever having a bad day, I know I have this waiting for me at home. Story 72. Something useful in pockets when putting on a coat for the first time of the season. Maybe $1 or $2. Maybe chapstick. It's always like winning the lottery. Story 73. When my dog gets excited and has the zoom eyes when I offer him to join me on a car ride. Story 74. Religion. I saw a video of a man camping while vlogging. Before he ate his meal, he prayed. Something so simple and pure is rare nowadays, and it gave me a warm, comfortable feeling. I don't really pray or anything like that, but it was nice to see someone else do it. Story 75. My wife placing her head on my shoulder or her hand on my arm or leg. Story 76. Seeing younger people having access to conveniences I did not have as a child makes me feel good about the future. Story 77. When someone notices the small details about you and what you told them. Story 78. Call it overstated, but I still love it when bus drivers wave to each other. Story 79. Smile and laugh, the way my friend snorts when she breaks into laughter. Story 80. Seeing anything related to The Office. That show helped me through some tough times and I will forever be grateful for it. Story 81. A baby wearing glasses, seeing mountains in the distance. The way my dog's ears move up and down when he walks. Handwritten notes or cards from friends or significant others. Story 82. A man who smiles at me, a much older woman, and compliments my dress. Story 83. Happy children with caring parents always make me smile. I am happy to see that their childhood is not being ruined, as I have seen many instances during my youth. Story 84. That first sip of morning coffee or tea is like a warm hug that reassures me everything is going to be okay. Story 85. When people who pass me actually look at me. Homeless, I am often invisible. Story 86. Seeing patterns in nature that other people often overlook. Story 87. When I receive a compliment from a stranger or someone I know, but mostly strangers. Story 88. Watching my son be amazed at something new to him, then tell me about it as if I have not already known about it for 40 years. Story 89. I would like to say, on my behalf and on behalf of others going through a bit of difficulty today, this post is definitely helping. Story 90. When a stranger tells me a joke. I work at a cafe and I am not exactly depressed on shift, but they can get long, boring, and monotonous. Every once in a while, though, I get a customer, usually a dad with his family, who cracks a joke and we have a bit of banter. It is such a small thing. Obviously, it only lasts a few seconds, but it really perks me up and gives me a little boost. Story 91. I coach Little League and enjoy seeing a young player who struggles to hit well get on base. I remember that feeling. It always lifts me up. Story 92. It is going to sound very odd, but I sometimes think of really ridiculous things and make myself giggle or laugh. Story 93. My apartment has a row of rose bushes. Only the new flowers have a scent. I smile when I see a new flower and smell it deeply every time. Story 94. Seeing someone actually listen to their child. They speak mostly nonsense, but it makes me feel warm when you can tell the child knows their parents really listen to them. Story 95. Seeing a mother goose leading her goslings across the street, and there is always that one little nonconformist taking his time. Story 96. The children in the neighborhood. With all the things kids are expected to do these days, it is nice to see them actually being able to enjoy themselves. You only get one childhood. Story 97. Dogs can be quirky or throw tantrums. They all have unique personalities, and I love them all. Story 98. As a truck driver, I love it when children ask me to honk the horn. It is always hilarious to see their reactions and makes my husband and me smile. Story 99. Seeing parents being kind to their children when they are struggling or having a tantrum. I saw a woman at a garden center recently who was talking her distressed toddler through big feelings and reassuring her that it is okay to have them, and that she would always be there to help. I had to look away because it literally brought a tear to my eye. You could feel how much she loved her daughter. It was just so sweet. Gentle parenting becoming a common approach warms my heart. Story 100. Placing a cup of hot tea next to my wife's nightstand before I leave for work. Story 101. When I look at my cats and they look at me with full affection. Story 102. My dog. Every time I see him, he puts a smile on my face. Story 103. Seeing my dog so excited to see me when I get home from a long day at work. Story 104. Rainbow colors. I love seeing small patches of color in a world that is becoming increasingly dull. The artificial flower aisle in Walmart is one of my favorites because it is so overwhelmingly colorful. Story 105. The moon. It is like no matter where I am or how my life is going, there is Luna, just doing her thing. Story 106. When someone says, "Oh, sorry, my cat, dog, or pet isn't very friendly," and the pet is in my lap 2 minutes later. Story 107. Silly animal stories in general include Pesto the giant baby penguin, the Sink Frog wholesome saga on TikTok, and Jamila the baby gorilla delivered by a human obstetrician/gynecologist at the Fort Worth Zoo. Jamila was rejected by her mother and later sent to a zoo in Cleveland, where she was immediately adopted by a foster gorilla mother. Also, those everyone's dad guys on social media genuinely want to teach all of us how to do things like checking oil, changing tires, fixing a leaky faucet, and cleaning a dryer vent. They understand that not everyone has a project dad or a dad at all and want to share their knowledge. My husband has taken on a couple of plumbing issues because of kind men like that. Story 108. Young children explaining in their own unique way something to their parents. Story 109. When I take my baby girl out, shopping, for a walk, wherever, I notice many people looking at her and smiling, genuinely smiling at a stranger. Then I smile too. I am amazed that I created this tiny human who spreads joy wherever she goes. Story 110. When you go to pick up your child after school and they come running towards you. Story 111. When I am in another room and call my cat's name, I hear her little chirp, which I am convinced translates to, "Right here, mama." And then the little pad 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 as she trots in. The sweetest. Story 112. I always look at the sky to see if today has fluffy clouds. Story 113. My young child saying "good night, Daddy" to me when I put them to bed. Story 114. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, going to flop over laugh. Story 115. Rush Limbaugh is deceased. He will not return. Story 116. When my best friend and crush comes up behind me and tries to scare me, but I know when he is coming. Story 117. Seeing someone I know come into where I work. I work at a restaurant. Story 118. My silly pet toad is trying hard to get out of the water, but he doesn't realize he can just climb up on the rocks. He is splashing around and is fine, just being playful. Story 119. When I hear a loud exhaust, it makes me smile every single time. Then people stare at me, but I don't care because cars go vroom. Story 120. When a baby smiles at me, when elderly people call me honey, art exists in general. Story 121. My face muscles. But seriously, whenever I am driving or walking past someone walking their dog, it does not matter what kind. Story 122. When a baby or young child looks at you and simply smiles and waves for no reason. Story 123. Sometimes my fiancé will volunteer to do some of the housework I plan to do. Maybe I was going to cook dinner, and she does it instead. Small acts like that let me rest and relax. It always makes me smile a little, even on bad days. Story 124. Watching how silly my dog can be, she keeps everyone in the moment. Story 125. A compliment from a stranger, a smile, or a wave from a child. Story 126. Passing gas in the elevator and blaming other people. Story 127. I once wrote a 6-line poem that started World War III. You would not believe it, but it always makes me smile. Story 128. Every once in a while, I remember how much my grandfather's second wife truly hates being on a broken-down farm in the middle of rural Texas, instead of a house in Plano like she thought he would buy. Story 129. My dog is always excited to see me, even if I have only been gone for 15 minutes. Story 130. I was a churchgoer almost every week of my life until 4 years ago. I am now 56. Waking up every Sunday after sleeping as long as I want will always make me smile. You will never catch me in a bad mood on Sunday. Story 131. Being given a sincere compliment, especially when I was feeling down. Story 132. Seeing a dog or some sort of animal pass by. Oh, and clocking out for work. Story 133. When someone remembers something small like a drink you like, and they buy it for you because they thought of you. Story 134. Seeing happy people in public, whether at a big celebration or just smiling at their phone after watching a cute video. I love it. Story 135. A dog with its head out the car window looks unbelievably content and happy. Story 136. People who smile at strangers. I feel this is a habit of Chicago residents to nod or smile as you pass, obviously not in every situation but generally. If I see people who do not, I always think they are not from here. I live in a neighborhood where I do not speak the language, but we still do the Chicago nod. I am older. Maybe this kind gesture is no longer common or expected. Story 137. Painted toenails. When I get out of bed and see my toenails, I smile. Story 138. Children engaged in gleeful chaos. Toddlers running down an aisle, children with sparklers, a child cutting their sibling's hair. The sheer freedom and joyful ecstasy on their faces moves me every time. I still catch them or prevent harm, always with a smile. Story 139. Honestly, I've been friends with benefits with this girl for almost 3 years, and she knows me so well that she can just tell when I'm having an off day. She'll just send me a picture of herself, and it cheers me right up. I don't know how she knows, but she always knows. Edit. Oh, and dogs too. If I'm just out doing something and I see a dog, and the owner lets me pet it, that always makes me smile too. Story 140. There are little boys in my cul-de-sac who are always riding their bicycles around and using jumps and other obstacles. Yesterday, one was on his bike with training wheels, barefoot on the pedals, racing me as I drove down the street. It reminds me of my brothers and me when we rode our big wheels and tore up the neighborhood. Story 141. Seeing my 1-year-old grandson's face light up when he sees me. Story 142. I do not have children. Other people's babies and toddlers seem drawn to me. I have had toddlers run from their parents and hold on to me. Babies reach for my face in the elevator and stare at me intently even when I look away. These encounters sometimes end with smiles from the baby and the parent, which brings a smile to my face. Story 143. The way people smile and glow when they talk about something they are passionate about. Story 144. When I wake up hours before my alarm goes off and realize I can sleep a little longer. Story 145. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, going to flop over laugh. Story 146. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, going to flop over laugh. Story 147. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, about to flop over laugh. Story 148. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, going to flop over laugh. Story 149. Killing rodents and mosquitoes in my house feels like a little Pokemon game. Story 150. A baby laughing. That deep in the gut, belly jiggling, going to flop over laugh. Story 151. Fuzzy worm office offbeat automatic head consists of beneficial pet ink. Story 152. A smiling baby. Yes, it is probably just gas, but still. Story 153. Memories of my beloved, cherished sweet Sadie. I love you always, Sadie, and I miss you every day. Story 154. I bought a bird bath a couple of years ago and placed it in view of my kitchen window. I love watching the birds and squirrels drink and bathe in it while I am doing dishes. It is such a small thing, but it makes me very happy. Story 155. I bought a bird bath a couple of years ago and placed it in view of my kitchen window. I love watching the birds and squirrels drink and bathe in it while I am doing the dishes. It is such a small thing, but it makes me very happy. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.